All right, so let's jump into what I thought. Okay, so I don't want to like give it like a review, like traditional like games journalism reviews games, but I do want to talk about it for a bit. So I won't give it like a number score, right? That doesn't really mean anything anyway. So just kind of setting like the groundwork there. I'm just going to talk about what I enjoyed about the game, what I think would make other people enjoy the game, and then some weird issues with the game, and then give like an overall summary of like how I feel about it. And then that will be my review. So I figured a Sonic game would be appropriate since it's one of my favorite series of all time. So Sonic Colors Ultimate came out, last week. We played it on stream. I beat it. The story is super short. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but what Sonic game is long? I think the longest Sonic game would probably be Sonic 06, just from the load times. So, the game itself, just story-wise, it's funny. It's like watching Saturday morning cartoons, right? It's not serious. It's goofy. The writing is sometimes a little campy, but I eat that stuff up. I enjoy that. So I had no problem with the story. You can only play as Sonic, but that's not really a surprise these days. Coming from when this game was originally launched on the Wii, it's kind of what people expected, I think. But there's no like werehog stuff like from Sonic Unleashed. So again, like putting it in context of when this game originally came out on the Wii, when the original version came out, a lot of people didn't know what to expect and they were very hesitant, but I guess that's the usual for Sonic games, is to be unsure about it. So this remake finally coming out was really cool because I didn't think this game would ever leave the Wii console. To see it off of the Wii is super cool. Presented in a very cool HD format is nice. It looks great. I played the entire thing on stream on an Xbox Series S, and visuals were great. I love the look, faithfully updated. Some of the new stuff they added, like with the customization, you can like change Sonic's gloves and shoes. That's kind of neat. Doesn't really have any bearing on the game. It's just, hey, look, I customized Sonic, and that's that. So it's a nice little, extra. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have any effect on how you play the game or how you're going to enjoy the game. It does good. It's good though. Like it gives you a reason to like explore some levels, but the park tokens, it's how you unlock the extra stuff, are literally handed out like way more than lives were in other Sonic games. So like you get them very quickly. I think from playing off of the first night we streamed it, I got like 100 and something. I was like, oh, okay, well that was cool, I guess. So let's talk about the levels a little bit then, while we're talking about how to get those park tokens. The level design, even coming off the original, having played the original, I knew what I was getting into, but the game is good from just gameplay. It's 3D Sonic with some 2D sections of platforming. They do a good job at conveying speed. There's not a whole lot of auto running, which is something that Sonic games tend to do nowadays, where they'll send you through like a cool section that's really fun to watch, but you're not really doing anything. And so I think the worst levels for that are the Starlight Carnival levels, where you're running along the track like in space, and it kind of like disappears, like appears as Sonic moves forward. I think those levels were the most like autopilot-y levels, where you didn't get to do a whole lot outside of watch Sonic go fast. That said, the rest of the levels are fun. I really like just the variety. Yeah, you have a bunch of different landscapes, different types of levels. You've got, your traditional like water level. You've got your, mecha city level early on. It takes kind of a twist on the traditional Sonic formula where you've got like an island and then a cave and then some water, and instead you've got like these different planets that you're running around on. They're fun. They're fun. I think there's a lot of variety, but unfortunately, the longer levels are better, but the extra levels are they feel like thrown in just to add more levels to each world, but it's not necessary. And so like on your first playthrough, you'll go through some levels and it's like, oh yeah, this is great. It takes you a couple minutes to get through it. They're full of, 3D action and then 2D platforming, and it's a good balance. You get to the end of it, you go to the next act, and it's maybe a minute, and it was literally just like a 2D section, but you didn't have any of the things you needed to navigate that level because as you go through, you unlock the powers through the wisps, and as you're going through, you unlock more of those, but if you don't have a specific thing yet, you can just skip past it and go to the end of the level. And so you spent a minute in this level and you're like, oh, okay, then you just go into the next thing. The game did that on purpose to encourage you to go back and play those levels once you've unlocked the necessary powers. I don't know what people think about that in general. Forced replayability is not bad if it makes sense. In this game's case, though, I think the replayability is more fun to explore than it is to like make me do anything for the story. It's literally just for extra content. So you run through the game, beat it in a couple hours, then you can go back through the levels and you can try to get the best rank on each level, high scores and stuff if that's important to you. I think there's some achievements for that stuff. And then each level has 5 red star rings, which are pretty common in Sonic games these days. The replayability really comes from getting like those things, the rings, or getting the best rank, or if you're collecting park tokens to unlock all the extras. I think that's where the meat of the game is. And it's not a bad thing. It's just if you are playing it just for the story, it's super short. If you're going to spend time collecting all the things, which when I played it the first time on the Wii, I had no interest in collecting the things. Now that I've played it again, I kind of am going back through and getting all of those things. Not necessarily the S ranks, because I'm not that good. But getting the red rings is a fun challenge. Sometimes frustrating, but fun, depending on the level. But overall, just playing the gameplay is great, levels are good, and then the replayability is there because there's other stuff to do, and you're not just playing one level a couple of times to fulfill some arbitrary goal. You collect the things, you move on to the next level. So yeah, that's what I liked about the game. And then what I think most people will enjoy is it's just overall, it's a fun Sonic game. If you're a longtime fan, I think you would enjoy it. If you have a kid that's interested in Sonic, they might enjoy it. I know my daughter really loves. We tried the 2-player mode. I don't really recommend the 2-player mode because it's kind of just tacked on there, but it is fun. It has its place, but it doesn't add a whole lot to the game on its own. So it's there if you want it. But anyway, I think it's a good like family title. You play it with your kids. You can leave your kids to play it. It fits that role. The things I don't like with this game, though, this port specifically has some odd glitches. A lot of people have talked about it on the Switch. I'm playing the Xbox version, and the first night we streamed it, the game crashed a bunch. I've got a few clips where I was literally just playing a level, and the game was like, nah, not happening. And so, yeah, that happened. And so I can't really knock it. The studio that ported the game did a good job overall, and they're supposed to be patching it, but those glitches did kind of mess up like the flow of the stream, the flow of me playing, So yeah, that's my biggest problem. The only other complaint I have is that the story is very short. So you're not going to get a whole lot of like story time out of the game. You go through, each level has like 2 or 3 cutscenes maybe. You fight a boss, or each world. You fight a boss at the end. You go to the next world. After like the 3rd world, it opens up the rest of them, so you can do them in any order after that. That's kind of cool. But the levels can be so short that you're just kind of blowing through it. And then the last couple of levels are really difficult compared to everything else. But the last boss wasn't much more of a challenge than the other bosses. So, excuse me. I didn't really hate that. It didn't really make me like the game less, but it's something that it's just disappointing after playing kind of, the bosses are repetitive, and then you get to the last boss, and it's not necessarily repetitive, but it's not any harder. And so what I mean by the bosses being repetitive is you basically face each boss twice. There's like the first version, and then there's a different variation on it where the attacks might be a little different or it looks different, But overall, there's enough content there to be an entertaining port. It's not a groundbreaking new Sonic game. It's, it is what it is. I guess we'll see that next year when that comes out. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it to anyone that likes platformers or the Sonic series in general. If you've never played it, it's at least worth a rent if you can gamefly it. But I don't know. Maybe it'll come to Game Pass. I feel like it would at some point. Yeah. So that's what I think about Sonic Colors Ultimate. And I hope that wasn't too boring to sit there and discuss. Oh my gosh. We straight up just fell off the entire level. No, you can't. I don't have any left. I just went through a wall that was highly implied you couldn't